Hey, what's up, guys? This is Eagle Speak back again with another video. So recently, as you know, yesterday the Suns and Lakers game had played for Game 5, and the Suns were blowing out the Lakers by like 30 plus points, and they were just destroying the Los Angeles Lakers and blowing them out. Well, obviously so, because they don't have Anthony Davis. KCP was hurt. I don't know if LeBron James was 100% or not, but he was in on it, being part of that blowout. And the Lakers just didn't look good coming out that game. They looked like they were shell shocked. The Suns looked hungry. They looked like they just wanted to take it. They took the lead of the series 3-2, and they're gonna head back to LA to play for Game 6. But one thing that kind of pissed me off and made me like really just irk me was LeBron James leaving during the fourth quarter, around the 5-minute mark of the blowout of the Suns versus Lakers game. And the fact of the matter is, when it comes to situations like that, this is why I'm a harsh critic of LeBron James overall, because my issue with him is that he's a front runner. That's one of the things Skip Bayless like to say. At first I didn't peep what he meant by that, but then I started to see it. LeBron James is a bona fide front runner. When everything's going good, when everything's going his way, he likes to front run, he likes to showboat, he likes to dog pony show, he likes to show out and do all this crap, and the opposite team has to just sit there and take it. But when he's losing, or he knows that he's gonna lose, or he just like getting dominated on the court, he can't stomach it and he chooses to leave. He separates from his teammates. He sits on the other side of the stands and he's all by himself, and he just want to mope and cry and complain. And then it's the same thing on the court. Whenever he's not getting his calls, he likes to cry and whine to the refs whenever he feel like he got fouled, instead of getting back on defense and guarding your guy. And those are the type of little bitch shit that he does that kind of like irks me and pisses me off about him. He has this huge ego maniacal diva personality about him that just makes people like irritable about him. So I can understand how he can have a lot of harsh critics such as myself, but still, as a quote-unquote leader of your team, you can't be leaving your team hanging, fighting that battle, and they're just leaving out there to dry. I understand there was 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and the game was basically over, but still, if he was blowing out a team by 30 points and they were out there, I doubt people would have took kindly that they left their team, especially if it was Chris Paul or Devin Booker or DeAndre Ayton. So I'm not gonna give LeBron James any excuse for that. When they mentioned about that, Frank Vogel, the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, he did mention that LeBron James left early to go ice his ankle. But I don't want to hear that BS excuse. To be honest, he needed to stay there with his team. He failed as a leader to galvanize his team and make an effort to try to win this game. The game was basically over, you could say, in the second quarter, but really it was damn near over after the second half. They tried to make a fight in the third quarter where LeBron James was jacking a whole bunch of threes, but it just didn't fall for naught, because every time he jacked a three, he probably missed a couple of shots or two, and the Lakers were damn near shooting 30% from three. So I'm gonna be real, he didn't have help from his teammates, but still, as a leader of the team, he failed to galvanize his team and make an effort to try to win that game. The game was blown out of proportion, and he has to take brunt of the responsibility for that loss. Now, I'm not saying all of it is his fault. No, of course not. His teammates didn't show up. Shooter was trash. Kuzma was trash. Who else was trash on the team? KCP was playing garbage. The Morrison twin, he wasn't good. Frank Vogel didn't make necessary adjustments to see what was going on. He put a whole new lineup on the team that had never played with each other, so that was a mistake on his part. But as you know, LeBron James is the best player on the team, and therefore, if they would have won, he would have got majority of the credit. So therefore, if they lose, it's only fair that he gets majority of the blame. I understand that they're hampered right now without AD, and his offensive presence is needed. But as LeBron James, one of the best players in the league, he should be able to get his team at least out the first round. So far, I don't see them winning a title, with the injury. I think he has a groin strain, so if he continues to play on it, he could potentially make it worse. I don't see that getting any better. LeBron James is obviously looking like an old man. He's 36 years old, look like his age is catching up with him, or the ankle injury is not fully healed. I seriously doubt that the ankle injury is fully healed, because I've personally had an ankle injury and it took me at least 6 months just for it to feel back normal. So I can't imagine him coming off 1 month and is all good. So when I was watching him, he looked slow, going off his drives. He was trying to pull up from three, doing a lot of shots from three. He was trying to pass the ball to other players to get teammates involved, but they just wasn't making their shots. And every time they drove, they had like 2, 3. They had a guy in front of him, and then they had 2 players manning the paint to make sure he doesn't drive consistently. And then when other players try to drive, they kept on having a guy in the paint. And then when they give it out to the 3, they kept missing. So that was the difference in the game. But still, as LeBron James, the quote-unquote GOAT that people claim that he is looking a little bad right now, because, if he's this great at how he say he is, then he should be able to get his team out the first round. I've heard from ad nauseum 14 years being in the playoffs that he's never got eliminated out the first round, and how Michael Jordan got eliminated in the first round even though he was going up against championship team being a lower seed. But I'm not going to get into that. But LeBron James has to get his team out at least the first round. If he does get eliminated, then it's gonna take a hit on his legacy. I don't care what nobody says. It's gonna take a major hit on his legacy, because all they went through the bubble, all the breaks that they got, the 5-month layoff, the bubble tournament, playing in Orlando, no travels, no fans, no nothing, playing a 5th seed injured Miami Heat team. All those breaks had to happen for him to win his championship. So I don't want to hear no excuses from his fan base or any of his fanboys in the media talking about all the stuff that they had to endure throughout this season. Injuries happen, they're part of the game, unfortunately. So he's got to deal with it and make it through at least the first round. Anything after that, I don't think it's going to be that big of a hit if he loses in the second round or the Western Conference Championship or even the finals, if he were to get there, which I doubt. But still, if AD's not even 80%, then they have no chance, even if he were to come back and play, because that groin injury, if he's strained, that means it's close to being torn off the bone. And if that happens, that could affect Anthony Davis in the future playing wise. So they have to take this like really seriously as regards to what they're gonna do here. Are they gonna try to play him? Are they gonna shut him down for the season and just go with LeBron James and the crew? Because it's still him and Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's not really gelling well with the team, because I think his personnel don't really fit with the team offensively and defensively. I think he's a space eater. He likes to stay in the paint, and when you're doing that with a person like LeBron James that likes to drive to the basket, he's going to bring an extra defender in to guard LeBron James or meet him at the rim, so it's going to be harder for him to drive. At least Anthony Davis is more versatile in terms of his skill set. He could post up in the paint, he could shoot mid-range, he could shoot 3, so he was more diversified in what he wanted to do. When it comes to Andre Drummond, he's more one-dimensional in terms of his skill. He's a good rebounder. He could clean the glass, but still, when it comes to that, he doesn't really do much. He's just a big body in the paint. I don't think for this type of NBA where the floor is more spaced out and players are shooting more, I don't think that works too much. So they're playing an old style of basketball that's kind of antiquated. So that's why they're kind of struggling the way they are. So I don't know. The Lakers are struggling right now in terms of how they're trying to proceed. The Suns look like they want to take their neck off, and I don't blame them. This is an opportunity to take down the reigning defending champs. Chris Paul has done this before by eliminating the San Antonio Spurs in 2015 and then moving on to the next round. But as you know, always at the wrong time, Chris Paul always get hurt once it's time to step up. He did that in the San Antonio Spurs series, he did that in the Warriors series, and he did that in the Houston Rockets series. So it's like it's just so much like always happens with Chris Paul, where he always, like, when it's time to show up, he always get injured in the playoffs. So I don't know what's up with him when it comes to that situation. But when it comes to this, I see he's trying to play his ass off, injured or not. He look like he's gonna come there, whether if he's in a wheelchair or crutches. He's gonna try to play his heart out to try to win this game, because there's a potential title on the line. This could change everything if they would eliminate the Los Angeles Lakers. But that's another video for another day. But I just want to harp on LeBron James' lack of leadership. And like I said again, this guy's a front runner. He's a coward and a quitter. Whenever things gets hard for LeBron James, he always quits and he always runs. I akin him to a rat because he always runs to where he feels is safe and good. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but in terms of competition, he always quits on his team. When it came to the Cavaliers in the late 2000s, he quit on them and ran to Miami. And then in 2014, when they had lost to the San Antonio Spurs, he quit on Miami and went back to Cleveland after they read up on another super team with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. And then when that didn't work out, when it sided with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love was a shell of himself, he ran away from Cleveland again and went to the Los Angeles Lakers. So I want to see how he's going to handle this type of situation now that they're struggling, now that they're probably not going to be potential title hopes. And he's 36 years old right now in his 18th year, and it's going to be 19th next year and then 20 the year after. So I want to see how good he's still going to be to potentially contend for a title, or if he's not going to contend for a title at all, because I don't see Anthony Davis getting any healthier. He's 28 years old and he's still struggling to stay healthy. Every season he struggles to stay healthy. The only reason he was healthy last year because the 5-month layoff and the bubble and no travel. So that was a benefit and a lucky break for the Los Angeles Lakers to win. Everybody was all hyped up on, the Kobe Bryant death, so they kind of like blew past it, but I'm not gonna blow past it. I know what I saw. That was an AAU bubble tournament. That was it. A real playoff championship run by any team. Any team that would have won that championship, it would have been an asterisk, and it's no different for the Los Angeles Lakers in terms of that situation. And that's why I look at it. But when it comes to LeBron James, he's a sore loser and a coward. I hate quitters who do that when they're losing and getting blown out. They leave their team high and dry, and they're just ashamed to be associated with that. But if they were winning, they would have been all up. They would have been cheering. They would have been happy. They would have been showboating and doing all that. Same thing that was going on in Game 4, where LeBron James got that alley-oop from Caruso. He was dunking, he was showboating, he was hot dogging it, he was doing all that. But then when they finally lost, and then they lost Game 5, now there's a sense of urgency. Now LeBron James is frustrated. Now he's don't know what to do, and it's potential his career's on the line with elimination Game 6, and he better go off like he did in 2012 against Boston and drop a whole bunch of points and have a great stat line. Otherwise, this season is over. So those are my opinions on the matter. This is Ito Speaks out.